Hello, ma'am, you are not audible. I think you're mute.
Yeah, sorry, I
Yes,
was
yes,
on
sir.
mute.
Yes, yes, okay. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm also good, ma'am.
Is anybody else joining? How do we know?
Mm, You posted a message only one, I think Jyoti ma'am said yes.
She's out. Huh? She has to go somewhere, so she won't be
Okay.
joining. Mhm. So have you prepared your PPT?
Yes, ma'am. I have added two more slides based on the in the previous presentation,
The
coaching model.
models. Okay.
Yes, based on a very little research,
It's okay.
I found two processes that I used.
The idea is to understand how things can be incorporated while we are doing coaching. So that's the major thing.
But I guess like it's very less we are knowing and the time we are giving right now to these this subject to this coaching everything is very less. We ourselves have
Yeah,
to give
it
more
takes
time.
time. Correct.
Yes.
You have to. Hmm. So Ranjani is also not joining.
Mm.
Okay, let's see. Yeah. So you want to give the presentation today, or shall we postpone the presentations for tomorrow?
We can do it tomorrow also, no?
Yeah, because I want everybody to go through the presentations when we are doing.
Yes, yes, ma'am. We can do it tomorrow.
We can start the new topic.
Yes, sir.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. All right. So today's topic is coaching for personal growth, right? And how we can incorporate the entire life coaching skills that we are talking about into the personal growth and development of anybody. So in many cases, in most of the scenarios, also life coaching is also known for personal development or personal growth as well. So if somebody is talking to you that you are a life coach, so you can always tell them that yes, you can be a personal growth person, you can be a personality growth coach, or you can be a personal development coach as well. So that's interchangeably, these three things are generally used. So what is personal development for somebody? So personal development is largely talking about self-knowledge, self-responsibility that we take, self-esteem and self-efficacy, self-regulations of emotions, a sense of control in our life, on our body, on the emotional and personal aspects of life, self-transcendence, and then the authentic self and its relation, meaning, purpose, and values. So these are the topics that we are going to cover in personal development, starting with how you can make people feel that they are really knowledgeable about everything about themselves, right? How much do we know about ourselves? How much is your self knowledge about yourself? Do you have that?
Somehow, ma'am, but we can't say कि we know completely to ourselves. That's why we need to know our inner strength and weaknesses. Like SWOT analysis helps us to know ourselves better.
Yeah. That is one. SWOT analysis is one. And also about other aspects of our life, that how exactly my body is sending me signals, what exactly is the need of my body, whether the body really needs rest at this point in time, what is the emotional status at this point in time. When you're feeling angry, if you really have self regulation on your emotions or not. So people generally who practice yoga, meditation, and life coaching become very balanced in their emotions. Why? Because they have to deal with a lot of emotions of other people as well. They have to encounter people's problem. They have to see those challenges. And if we start bringing our own emotions into the entire period of where people are sharing their problems with us, it becomes really difficult for us to. It's not right. It's not that we should not show them sympathy and empathy, but it's just that you cannot show them vulnerabilities. You cannot really cry out with them, right? Sometimes it happens, during the coaching sessions, you will feel that something like this will also happen, that you start having tears in your eyes because the story somebody else is sharing is very painful, very challenging. So that will happen, but how you have to balance and have a self regulation on that kind of emotions is really, really very important. Other thing in self knowledge and self responsibility comes is that as a coach we need to be very balanced in our approach in terms of managing the way people are dealing their lives. For example, we should not be prejudiced about any of their problems or challenges. We should not have bias towards anything, any particular area of life. No judgment should be passed on. We generally start creating opinions about people, how she's dressing, how he's walking, what is the kind of color they are wearing. These are very smaller examples of how we start judging people or how we start forming opinions about other people. So personal development actually teaches us that there is a time, especially when you are dealing as a coach, that you have to have a very balanced approach. The strategies that you are going to use should be away from all kind of prejudices, self doubts, insecurities, all these things, right? So what is the need of personal growth in your life? Let's talk about that. So what is the need of personal growth in your life?
Personal growth is one thing, ma'am. Like flowing river is there, like if the water is stop at one place, it will there would be pollution and everything. So if we are also stuck at one place only, then there are negative thoughts coming to our mind. We are not ready to think with open mind. We are not ready to see the world with the open mind, and that is the thing. That is one thing that with which our health that can impact our health badly,
Correct.
physically, mentally, emotionally, and everything. So
Mhm.
it is very important to for us to uh, there is a need for us to grow personal, like in every traits.
Mhm. What is your opinion, Muskan?
Ma'am, I read it somewhere. It was written that the worst place to be is the same place you were last year. I think it was on New Year or something. That growth is very important. It is the worst place if you are at the same place you were last year. If there is no growth, so
Correct.
growth is really important in every aspect.
Yeah, very beautifully put. Somebody whosoever has written it really beautifully, right? And it's not just physically where you are, it's about our careers, it's about our personal growth, which is happening. It's about the life goals that we have to achieve, as well as emotionally, whether you are actually achieving the maturity which is required at your age or not. Because people say that 40s are really that good time when you start feeling a lot of maturity in your life, right? In terms of you can gain knowledge about, because you have met so many people in last 20 years since you have started going to the college and started your professional journey. So this is a time when we meet people socially, professionally. Different kind of people are in our life, and what happens is that we actually this is various things, various situations, circumstances, challenges, other perspectives actually increase our perspective towards finding a different kind of solutions for problems that we encountered in our life, right? So that's when the need of personal growth is required. So there are people around us, there are people in every uh, aspect of life who will come to you if you are starting your coaching business. So they will come to you for asking different kind of questions, different kind of problems, different kind of areas. So first in the classes today, what we are going to talk about is when is the need of personal growth people actually face, and they have that kind of a trouble. What are the areas that they come to you with? And then we will tell them the solution. So we'll take it in two different aspects, right? So number one is that when people come to us is when they want to discover their purpose. You will see, especially since spirituality and meditation has become a talk of the town, everybody is talking about because of the stress and frustrations we keep facing. So there are so many articles, so many blogs. There are people who want to share their knowledge that they have acquired, even if they are not certified or properly trained teachers. They are recording their video blogs, creating and sharing it with everybody, because there is a demand. Suddenly people have started realizing that what is the purpose of life that I have. And this is again what happens, it's also called midlife crisis. That when you have spent a lot of years in your professional life, in your personal life, with your wives, with your spouses, children, you have taken care of everything, and suddenly you realize that what I am doing is not really the purpose of my life. So I have to change or make some shift. So when they discover this kind of a problem, that something is not going right, something is not moving ahead in the right direction, I have to change that direction. That's when they come and discover, right? So they look for a very good mentor, they look for a very good coach who can help them find that purpose. So now, suppose you are the life coach or personal development coach, people come to you. How are you going to help them find that purpose of life? First, before that, do you know your purpose of life? What is your purpose? Life kaya, whatever, in however ways.
I was about to say, ma'am, what you said, midlife crisis. I am going through this stage right now.
Everybody goes through that, so nothing to be ashamed
Yes,
of. Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
But what is it that you look forward to? See, before becoming a life coach, I always tell, my mentor used to tell me that it's always essential that you take a training under somebody in terms of understanding all the aspects of life coaching, right? And then, because we are studying yoga life coaching, you've already done that 4 months thing. So then you can actually get into the solutions finding stage where you are mixing both the things together. What kind of relaxation techniques, meditation, and yoga you can incorporate into the entire circle so that people who are coming to you will be able to do that. Because what yoga helps us in, what is yoga meant for? It clarifies the body, right? It brings, back the prana in our body so that, the entire body is cleaned before we actually perform anything. And that is the reason why it is performed also in the morning hours, in the early morning hours. So that once you do this, you have set your goals for the entire day. You physically also feeling good, you're emotionally and mentally also feeling good about it. Your memory is also performing really well because you have done some pranayams in your body. And hence, you are ready to discover what is ahead in the day. So once the cleaning has happened of the body, then you can introduce relaxation and meditation techniques, because some people find it very challenging how their day actually goes. So 8 hours in the office sometimes becomes very frustrating, very stress oriented, right? Targets hai, timelines hai, boss hai, colleagues hai. So different kind of challenges are there. And then when you go home, you have your kids, your parents, your family, they also bring a lot of troubles into our life. So we call it troubles because we suddenly, when we are frustrated, everything looks like a problem, looks like a challenge, it looks like a trouble. So how we can actually help these people find their purpose in their life is, first we have to find our purpose, right? Supposedly, I feel that when you have chosen this course, right, out of 20,000 people or 1 crore people who had seen this particular course on the website, only few, why did few only registered under this course? One, because we were not doing such big marketing about this. Second is that you have already found that whatever is going on in your life is not on the right track. So you wanted to find that purpose in life. So that means you're already on that path of finding the purpose, and hence you have decided that you want to make certain changes. That transformation is about to happen, and that transformation will lead to the purpose of life. So if you become a life coach or you become a yoga life coach in helping other people, so that helping other people, supporting other people find their tracks, helping them find whatever they are looking for in their lives can actually become a really, really important purpose for their life and your life as well, right? So that's how you can actually decide that. Second point is when they want to get empowered. So why do people come to us? Because they want to feel that empowerment. They want to feel that what kind of things are missing in my life. And really now I want to take control of everything in terms of emotionally, physically, my mental stability, everything. So from various perspective, we want to get empowered and we want to take right decisions for ourselves because we have already made a lot of mistakes. So when we had already made so much of mistakes, so it's really important that at this point in time, we let go of all those mistakes, we let go of all the insecurities, we let go of all the things that has not worked for us, and then we start getting much more empowered in our life. So this is one more reason why people look forward to a personal growth coach or personal development coach when they want to have that feel of getting empowerment, right? Many women and many children actually come for this particular purpose. People, students who are actually preparing for IIT, JEEs, medical or IAS, these are the people who generally feel very troubled in terms of finding what exactly is meant for them. एक बार exam दिया, it's not get cleared. Second time दिया, नहीं हो रहा है. Parents are after their lives, so they get confused whether to listen to their parents or their teachers or actually do what their heart is feeling like, because after second attempt, if you have not cleared it, sometimes life become very disturbed, so frustrated, all those things comes. And there are many students you might have seen maybe in newspaper and around surroundings maybe, that people then commit suicide, they get those thoughts of committing suicides or ending their life. So imagine if something is frustrating so much to somebody that they had to end their life, they don't want to live it, that means something really, really disturbed going on, right? So before anybody reaches to that stage, as a coach, it's up to us how we can actually find out those signals. right? So that people can feel empowered. It's a beautiful journey of life, 70 years, 80 years. Anybody can actually go through these 70, 80 years very beautifully, right? It's just that everybody takes time to understand. And that is the reason why I keep saying that coaching is a very, very huge business. It can become as a wonderful business opportunity. But only problem in today's coaches, many coaches, is that they don't make that extra effort in making changes in somebody's life. That emotional factor doesn't come. It comes as a business only. That exchange of thoughts is happening, exchange of problem solution is happening. They might be able to give wonderful solutions. But then when you actually include, that is the reason why we designed this particular course. I actually took interest in designing the courses purely because yoga, meditation, and life coaching all together can actually bring a lot of changes in people's life. Right. Third आता है इसमें point when they want to develop strong relationships. So now one aspect is out there that people really have no connect with people in their life, right? They don't trust anybody outside, maybe, other than your husband or wives or our parents. We generally don't trust anybody outside. The mahal is like that, things are going on like that. The competition has become so high. People are always talking about मैं उससे ज़्यादा अच्छा हूँ, मुझसे ज़्यादा अच्छा, right? So these are the things which is going on. And that is the reason we face a lot of challenges in siblings relationship, in very close circle also. Friends are not really being created or made properly. So this actually is the time of introspection, right? So you as a coach can help the person introspect that why something is not really working out in their life. That means, are they actually looking at the mirror? It's like you have to become their mirror and reflect whatever is going on in their mind. Because somehow people do not realize that relationships are very important, right? We always find some or the other trouble in relationships. We will always have some or the other faults which is happening. Even with our siblings, fight ho jati hai, शादी के बाद और problems ho jati hain, but still, those relationships, those people are very close to us. They are blood. And the friends that we make from our schools and colleges play a very important role in how our personality has shaped up. So why leave them suddenly purely because there is a misunderstanding which has happened, or your ego has taken over you, or you are not really ready to accept the mistakes that people have made? And these are the only few reasons which generally happens in everybody's life. So you have to help them find out how strong relationships can be developed, and these relationships can actually become much more valuable in their lives, right? And these are the kind of people who will come to you, especially a lot of people who are working in corporates. They will come and they will share their problem that they are not able to create any kind of relationships purely because they are so busy in their corporate lives. So their relationships with spouses is actually taken a toll. With children also has taken a toll. With parents also, they are not available at the time when people really need them. So how you can actually help them? So then all 3 points will come: empowerment, balance, emotions, and their social security. Right? Then many people come to you when they want to live the life they want to live. Right now, I am sure you must have seen that movie called Tamasha, Ranbir Kapoor wali, right? The story is so beautiful that somebody who wants to live the life they want to, but because of the parental pressures, he could not. And that is a with every household story. Har teesre ghar mein, this is the story which is going on, that we want to do something different, but our parents, our society, our teachers have actually showed us a different kind of ways. A few years back, सिर्फ 4 तरीके के careers की बातें होती थी घर में. Engineer बन जाओ, doctor बन जाओ, IAS बन जाओ और CA बन जाओ. These 4 major areas. Then slowly people started going towards MBAs, and other aspects. Now even a dancer and singer is also a profession thanks to a lot of TV shows and other things. So these the kind of things which is going on in life, people really want to do something different than what they are actually doing at this point in time. So they have a lot of insecurities about themselves. They have very limiting beliefs. अंदर से जो आवाज आती रहती है ना, like लोग क्या कहेंगे, what are people going to talk about me, what is my family is going to think about me, whether I will be able to do much better in my life, whether I'll be able to earn money or not. So different kind of things will keep coming in. So ये आवाजें कहीं और से नहीं आती हैं. The first voice that you actually hear is from you itself. right? So that actually helps us, that not helps us, that actually builds a lot of insecurities in our life, right? That is the reason why we always say as a coach that overthinking jab tak nahi jayega in somebody's life, that means then it's very difficult for you to, even for yoga also. For example, somebody wants to learn yoga or meditation, right? आपको सिखाना है किसी को.
For
Yeah, so,
this point, even that LGBTQ group,
yeah,
they have started now. It has gained significance. People are understanding it, not very
absolutely.
much in our society in India, but yes, improvements are there.
Absolutely. Now there is a doctor, there is a MLA. So these people are there, they are getting recognition. But even though the journey is still long, very, very long, right? Again, this movie, which just came, I generally don't watch that many movies, but this was
Yes,
really good.
ma'am.
People,
I've also seen
Chandigarh Ka
it. And
Ashiki.
yes,
Yeah.
ma'am, it is good.
So the topic was really good, very well handled. I really liked it because they did not go into the details and deep depth. So because they wanted to keep it entertaining also. But how they have touched upon this very, very emotional topic, very important topic, it's very important. Right? Because you will hardly see in our education system, schools may, colleges may, even in nursery KG, people don't send those kind of children. You will never feel, or you will never have a friend who is a transgender. You will never have a friend who is born like that. So that is a very, very difficult situation that we are facing, because some people are actually born like that, some become transgender, some actually change their way of living their life. So LGBTQ is a very, very vast area where people actually have this limiting belief and insecurities. In fact, I am doing a healing of somebody who is actually facing this problem. So he has accepted, he knew it, that he is having this kind of feelings for somebody. Parents also accept it, but the problem is the society is not accepting that. So he has this challenge that because society is not accepting, so I can never get married, right? I can never bring a man and say that I am also a man and he is also a man and he can become my bahu or damat. So I just loved the way he was actually explaining it to me during the coaching session, and it was wonderful. I really like this idea that at least parents are supportive,
Yes,
even if,
ma'am.
yeah, even if he has taken a decision not to get married ever, that's perfectly fine. You can actually live with some people happily without getting married also. But certain insecurities which we face are for ourselves, and then obviously society is increasing those fears that we have. If we keep, imagine, if we keep bothering about society, what society is thinking about us, we will never be able to live our life, right? So as a coach, first we have to come out of that particular area, and it takes very, very good dare. You have to actually make a lot of changes in your lifestyle. You have to actually stop listening to the people what they are saying about you. Even for a life coach, initially when I started this particular thing. My sibling used to tell me, Ki, what is there in becoming a life coach? Become a counselor, take a certification. I said, no, this is going to be a different kind of feeling altogether, because first, my beliefs are something like that. I never feel that gender bias can be there, and that has been there since, I don't know, when I was born. I used to had a fight with my parents that why something is allowed for a man and not for a woman. These kind of questions I used to ask very frequently. So this is what you have to bring into the life, that certain changes you have to make in yourself to become a better coach, and then you will be able to understand the problems that people are facing in a much more better way, right? So that's how it has to be. Then people will come to you for personal growth sessions, and development is when they want to feel better about themselves. A very basic criteria, a very basic thing. We feel that it's a very small listing, but again, when people are going through different kind of fears, different kind of stress, so they want to actually feel better, right? Somebody, especially housewives, has been told since their childhood that they are not really good for anything. After marriages, if they don't find a good household, then obviously it's a even more worse situation. The in-laws are actually incorporating, don't believe that you are good for nothing. So all these belief systems, all these things that we keep hearing about ourselves suddenly takes a different kind of what do you call it, a place in our mind. And when these things start taking place in our mind, what happens is we never feel better about ourselves. We don't want to get dressed. We don't feel good about going out. We don't enjoy people's parties or societies, any functions or anything. So people had taken this particular thing. In fact, one of the ladies was sharing with me that, somehow I feel very frustrated handling the children all the time. She has small children, so she said every day, 30,000 times in a day, I just keep hearing mama, mama. So sometimes I feel I don't have any other responsibility, or I don't have any other identity than just being called a mama. And that's a very natural thing that can come, and people don't think about these things. You know? So it's very important. I just told her that, I actually shared this example that Divya gave once, that me time that you have to take out from for yourself is very, very important. So I actually suggested her that take that me time out, at least start with 20 minutes in a day and then gradually increase it a little bit. Maybe tell your husband to share your responsibility, or somebody else, hire a full-time maid, something, whatever can be done in your circumstances, because sometimes people have financial problems also. They cannot really have that kind of help around them. Sometimes their husbands are not really very helpful, or their family members are not really helpful, so they have to find out that solutions. So you can only give them solutions from the point of view when you have understood and listened to them really well, right? So one approach, so your style will work for everybody, your models will work for everybody, but the way you are suggesting the strategy and you're creating the entire plan of helping somebody in life coaching may not work for everybody. You have to fine tune it according to whatever you are listening, right? So that's how you have to do. Then other for courage. So for courage and authenticity, many people will come. So courage is somehow related with all other things that we have spoken about, because people, if they want to make changes in their career, even then they don't find that courage to go out. If they want to get married to somebody that they really like or they really love, still they do not have that courage. So they come to you so that you can give them, and people will come to you and say कि आप solution दे दो बस की courage आ जाए. So it's that kind of a thing. You have to listen to them. You have to find out those solutions which can help them. So why we tell them that you do yoga, perform yoga asana, is first to clear their mind and body. Then we bring them to relaxation and meditation techniques so that whenever they are concentrating on something, it helps them make good decisions. Right? And then we give them other things, scientific models or coaching models and other things, so that they can plan their life better. It's not really something a very rocket science kind of a thing becoming a coach, but then you need to have a knack of doing something like that. Right? Like I said, you cannot have, there is no one formula which is fit for all. So you have to find different formulas every time. And for finding different formulas, you need to engage. And that engagement will only happen when the listening is happening. And then listening is only going to happen when you have time to listen to people properly. Right? So this is the entire cycle or circle. That's how the entire life coaching will work. And for authenticity. Now, similar thing like, Muskan just shared that LGBT, these people, transgenders, these are the people who do not have found a place where their identity, they can actually open up their identity. Even if homosexuals are there, or gays or lesbians are there, these people do not have the courage because they feel that the society will say something different about them, or the family is going to talk something different about them. So they lose their authenticity, right? There are so many people. In fact, this guy which I'm talking about and I'm coaching, his boyfriend got married to a woman. So imagine now there are three different lives, and all three lives are really, really broken. Nobody would be happy. The one who is separated is also suffering. The people who are married to each other are also suffering, because I don't know, it's not just about sexual relationships, but it's about emotionally or personally how invested you are into each other. So all those things has to be taken care of. And I have not mentioned it here in this PPT, but many people will come to you for their sexual orientation only, where they don't feel happy about their sex life. They're not really engaged. Women wants to do it, but they cannot initiate it because the man in the family is not really initiating it. Because this is how we are being brought up, that we cannot initiate. We have to be shy about it. The generation which is coming now is much more prepared for these things. They are much more vocal. But the older generation, who are right now in 40s and 50s, feel very, very desperate about these things. So their life has actually taken a different kind of thing. The entire life they are getting invested into just being a mom or just being a wife who is doing household work. That's it. So they cannot actually say, they cannot come across with their authenticity. So that is the reasons, that people will come to you. And you have to be prepared that the kind of discussion which is happening should always remain between the two of you. So that confidentiality, that security and safety, because first thing is very important for person to trust on you is to give them that kind of a feeling that everything that they are sharing is going to be confidential. Now, how you can actually become a good coach in terms of bringing personal growth, personal transformation, development, personality development, whatever you want to call it, right? So what are you going to do is the first tip, the first skill, which is very important, is like you can see in the picture was not very clear, but I really liked it. So pie chart says that 45% of effective communication is just plain listening. That's it. Right. So imagine out of 100%, maximum time you're spending is just listening to somebody, and then you can make your entire communication process go really, really well. And what is the trouble that people are facing nowadays is they don't have anybody to listen to. Sometimes people will just come to you so that you can just listen to them and they can shed out whatever they have. They can just vent it out, they can just share it with you, and everything in their mind and their heart comes out to you. Right, then 30% goes to talking, reading, and 16% to reading and 9% to writing. Right, so imagine a communication strategy, whatever you have to design about your coaching style, you need to develop this ability that you are listening. You are able to give that kind of a shoulder to somebody so that they can come cry with you, and you just have to listen to them. Don't when people come to you, first few days it just happens that you just have to listen to them. You cannot apply any strategy, you cannot really say anything about that, and it's always good. The more information and data you have for them about them, it will help you in finding your strategy of how you are going to handle their problem. Okay. Second is this is about, I've just written it in this key, why listening is important. So when you're consulting, you can go through it. I think we've already said that. Second essential skill is creating a good rapport with your client. So it's very, very difficult also, and sometimes it comes very naturally and easy to some people who have this particular knack of dealing with people's problem. Right? You have seen that college में या schools में क्या होता होगा कि किसी की कोई problem होती होगी, so maybe you might be the person that they come to and share, or there would be at least one or two people who are always there. Right, who have this habit of not talking much, but they are very good listeners and they create that kind of a rapport with other people, right? Because they are very good listeners and they understand people's ability to share problems, right? So creating that rapport, that kind of relationship with our clients is very, very important, right? It becomes utmost importance because till the time that relationship is not built, if you keep treating them as a client, the rapport will never be able to, you will never be able to engage with them thoroughly, completely. So what happens is that creating a rapport has to be the second skill that is very important. Third is knack of solving problems. Now, if you are not a natural problem solver, you will have to do a lot of efforts, extra efforts, in terms of what solution is going to work. Because a lot of extra efforts goes into finding the right kind of a solution for somebody's problem. Right? Sometimes you have to be available for them at 11:30 in the night also, because suddenly they have a breakout, they want to talk to somebody, nobody else is available, so they might give you a call. Right? So whether your family surroundings allow that, your environment allows that or not, so these kind of things, these are smaller things. It will not happen in all the cases. You can always find a barrier. You can always tell them that these are the timings that you're available, but there are difficult cases which comes to you. It's like being a psychologist. Right? When people, that somebody has a suicidal thoughts going on in their mind, right? And the suicidal thoughts are there because they do not have somebody to talk to. So they might find that friend in you, or they might find that kind of a person in you who is ready to listen to them. So you have to be very, very prepared that you are always around them and you have that particular skill of giving them solutions at any point in time, right? And your solution should be researched upon. It's not like that this has worked for me, so it will work for you. It's not really a case, because our circumstances can differ from each other. Our family circumstances environment, surroundings, so many things. External factors play a lot of role. So internally, me and you can be similar, but our external factors, how our spouses are, our kids are, family, parents, all those things really makes a lot of impact. So you have to have that. Then fourth skill that you need to have is giving ruthless feedback. Ruthless feedback doesn't mean that you have to be very impolite. That can be done in a very polite manner also. But you have to have that kind of a skill in you where you are able to be very blunt and share with people that these are the things you're not doing right. This is something which is not going wrong, right? Especially it happens, like I give you examples, how it happens is, suppose you have to tell a woman about their husband, that what he's doing with you is not correct, right? Whatever problems they come to you. Then about the parents, right? About anything that they are doing wrong, in the sense, they are not physically fit, they are really, really very fat. And with being fat, we are not fat shaming somebody, but it's just that, having a unnecessarily fat in the body, until and unless you have a genuine problem because of which you are facing that particular fat, that means that is creating a very unhealthy mindset in you, right? It is making your body lazy, it is your mind also very lazy, right? So you have to find that kind of a thing, so that you can always give them a very, very ruthless, very blunt feedbacks. And there is an art of giving the feedback, so feedback mechanism has to be followed very nicely. So what is the art of giving feedback? We will do it in the coming classes, that right, that feedback will also be there. Then having the right skills, which is your leadership management, self-awareness, and mindfulness. Very important, right? You have to take charge of the situation. Sometimes you have to showcase your leadership skills, especially if there are more than one coachee in your class and there are more than that. So you have to have that kind of a skill where you can become a leader. You can actually show them the path, right? For example, if you're just telling them that you have to follow these asanas and you have never practiced those asanas yourself, so it gets very different kind of an experience it creates, where you are not able to do or perform something in front of somebody, right? So that's the reason why. And management skills are important because you are going to include a lot of management style coachings, management style models, management techniques and tools into your entire system. And management generally, in terms of in a general language or layman's language, management also means you are able to manage the entire session, right? So you have to decide how long the session is going to be. So suppose you decide that for each person you are going to devote 45 minutes session, right, per coaching. Now people will come to you, they start talking, it goes beyond 45 minutes. So like, psychologist and doctor says that I have another appointment, I cannot go ahead with them. So you have to speak about all those things, right? So that is when you have to take a decision whether I have to end it or I can continue listening to, depending upon what kind of information is being shared with you, right? So that management has to come. Then third is self-awareness. It's very important for anybody who is into coaching business or a related business, or becoming a development coach or a personality coach or counselor, that self-awareness has to be there. They should be aware about themselves. They should be aware about their own limitations and barriers also. Because no matter what we say कि हमारा सारा mind process is एकदम clean, the way I feel, there is no prejudices, there is no bias, but somehow we are human beings, वो आ ही जाता है, right? Somehow you start feeling something about somebody, right? In terms of कि यार ये कपड़े कभी ढंग से नहीं पहन कर आता है, आती है, he or she is attention seeker, whatever. बहुत सारे छोटे छोटे से वो होते हैं हमारे prejudices जो हम लेकर आ जाते हैं, and the stereotypes जो हमें बचपन से सिखाए गए हैं सोसाइटी एनवायरनमेंट में, इन सब चीजों में, तो वो stereotypes जाने में टाइम लगता है. So as a coach, it will help you find your self awareness also, so that you can help people find that. So first we have to develop that skill in us of becoming much more aware. So you can use different techniques like SWOT analysis and other techniques also. Find out about your personality, find out how your aptitude and attitude is, whether you're really meant to become a coach or not. right? So you can perform a test. There is a test on 123test.com. This particular website has different kind of personality test, from psychometric to personality to aptitude to attitude. So you can do that DISC profiling test for you. So DISC profiling test actually helps us in finding out what kind of professions, what kind of careers we are going to be good in. Right? So you can actually, so it's a very start. So if you free wale se wo hai, so generally DISC profiling is not free, but it will give you a start that, you know, whether you are really meant. So DISC is basically a short form of 4 words. So dominance, insecurity, something, something, right? Innovation, steadiness, and then C is, I think, for consigns, correlation, something like that. Right? So this profiling will help you find out. So if suppose you are dominant, so what kind of, suppose 45% of your answers that you have given says that 45%, it actually gives you a pie chart kind of a thing. It tells you that 45% is dominance and then rest percentage is smaller. So according to that, it will help you find out, and it will give you suggestions also. So all these things are free of cost. Do that, let me know what comes to you. So you can actually become much more self-aware, and it's not that today the dominance has come 45%, so you cannot reduce it. You can actually work. See, when we get to know about something, the first important part is that we need to be aware about something, that it is happening. Once you become aware, second part comes is acceptance, that we have accepted, yes, that this is a problem or this is the challenge that I have to overcome. Once you do this awareness, acceptance, the third thing comes out to be finding a solution about that. So that can only come once you have awareness and acceptance of it. Then mindfulness, obviously, you know, so practicing mindfulness is very important because it will help you get detached with your people. Because when people come with their emotional trauma or their emotional problems, a lot of negativity also comes. Right? So how and when you have to stop that negativity to enter your, because हम क्या करते हैं, लोगों के घर की प्रॉब्लम आती है बहुत ज्यादा, right? So like I am sharing that किसी के husband ना खराब है, किसी के in-laws खराब है, so you start comparing your husband and your relationship with that, and that's very natural, it will come. So mindfulness meditations can actually help you find out that barrier कि यहाँ पर खत्म करना है, this is your life which is different and this is your life, you cannot really have a comparison amongst that, right? So my husband knows this thing, so he always tells me कि ना बिल्कुल घर में लेकर नहीं आना, you have to stop this thing, take it away from the house, you cannot even share those things with us, so that, you know, you start thinking, otherwise you start thinking about certain relationships. So it's very important that you find that balance in your life. Now, how we can actually include yoga with your personal development coaching or personal growth coaching? What are the aspects, what are the areas that you have to work around, and how you can actually bring those changes? So number one is yoga and physical dimension of personality, right? Like in the very first class also, we talked about various goals, which helps us in accomplishing our yoga or meditation life. So one of the first goal is physical dimensions, right? So yoga for physical dimensions in personality also is really, really helpful. So physical dimension kya hai? It is related to body. What kind of practices actually can help you find out what are the difficulties generally with diseases, ailments, whatever are there. So you can actually do all these practices of different kind of asanas, pranayama, or bandha. All these things, all these techniques of yoga can actually help you find that kind of a physical development that is required for your body. Right? Why I have written children is because development जो physically होता है वो generally बच्चों में ज़्यादा होता है, because they grow. But it doesn't mean that it is not happening in other people. So physical development, especially in women, keep happening all through their life. Hormonal changes बहुत ज़्यादा होते हैं. You know, from the stage of giving birth, monthly menstruation, and then menopause, all these things actually keep increasing or building different kind of emotional trauma in our life. So that physically also we start getting weak. So imagine एक मंथ में 3 दिन मिनिमम ऐसे होते हैं जहां आप स्लो हो जाते हो, no matter what you want to do, right? So now those 3 days you are also getting physically and mentally affected also, right? You become slower, you don't feel like doing certain things because your body doesn't allow. And for few females it can become a hindrance because they have to perform those duties no matter what. So imagine you're doing something जो योगा, जो वेदास और हमारे सब मेडिक्स कहते हैं, वेदिक्स कहते हैं कि करना नहीं चाहिए, जहां आपका मन ना लगे वो काम नहीं करना चाहिए. But imagine your wife is cooking even if she doesn't want to, right? Your maid is cooking and she's coming home, she's going through those particular days, and she comes and she's cooking for you or she's cleaning your house, where her heart and body is actually saying that she should not be doing all those things, right? So my maid has, we have actually created those days when she will not come to work only when she is going through her menstruation, right? And that's how we have decided that she will take leaves only during that days, if the body doesn't allow. If she's comfortable, she can come. So that's how, so with smaller planning, with smaller approach, and this is how I actually told her कि तुम्हें problem नहीं होता है ये सब काम करने में. She said हाँ दीदी बहुत ज्यादा दिक्कत होती है. So I said then why don't you take off at least. She said फिर बाकी लोग कहेंगे. मैंने कहा कोई बात नहीं, संडे एक्स्ट्रा काम कर देना जिनके यहाँ नहीं जाते हो, at least you take an off like this, so that it will give you balance body. So this is very important, that when your body is going through certain changes, and that menstruation changes, hamare Vedas mein is called a very pure process, right? All our Upanishads talk about it, that woman becomes much more pure during these 3-4 days. So when you're getting into that purity mode, then you're getting into very cleaning mode. How it can be helpful for you to do a lot of physical activity. Right? That is the reason जो हमारे पुराने लोग होते थे वो बोलते थे कि काम नहीं करने देना चाहिए. Right? So the scientific reason why they used to say, even they will know कि हम क्यों मना कर रहे हैं, उन्होंने भी कहीं से सुना होगा, but the scientific reason that Veda says कि क्यों हमें काम नहीं करना चाहिए, because changes are happening, that physical cycle is getting renewed or changed, right? So that purity is happening, so you have to take rest, give rest to the body. So खैर any which ways ये actually help करता है. जिन लोगों के घर में काम नहीं करने देते हैं वुमेन को, उनके लिए actually it's a boon कि काम नहीं करने दिया जा रहा है, right? But so you have to be very prepared with what kind of asanas you are going to introduce. So for physical dimension of personality changes, right? So ये एक personality change की बात कर रही है. There are different kind of things. अब now puberty पे आते हैं बच्चे. So during that puberty, there are a lot of changes which is happening. In boys, different kind of changes, the women, different kind of changes. So how you are going to bring that kind of yoga asanas, what kind of things you are going to introduce so that it helps them incorporate those changes in their life. Because इस वाले अराउंड के लोग भी बहुत सारे आएंगे कि बच्चे को ये प्रॉब्लम हो रही है. नाउ देयर वाज अ वुमन हु वाज फेसिंग दिस प्रॉब्लम इन आवर ग्रुप, वेयर शी सेड उसकी डॉटर का मेंस्ट्रुएशन स्टार्टेड एट 9 years of age. So imagine, and she was not prepared. So she said सब कुछ बता तो दिया है मैंने, but suddenly somehow I am not feeling comfortable about this कि why something has happened at such age. So as a parent हमारा mind भी खराब हो जाता है, I mean disturb हो जाता है, and the child obviously is getting disturbed if you are getting disturbed. So finding those solutions, how yoga can balance that thing, how meditation can help you balance those things is really, really important. Then second aspect आता है yoga and emotional dimension of personality. So we have to find out what kind of emotional dimensions are there. Right? What are the things that can disturb us emotionally? Frustrations, anger, stress, all these things. So what you can actually brought in as a solution to these problems are all the complete things. So yama practice, niyama practice, asanas, pranayam, pratyahara, and meditation completely, right? So that's how you can actually design your package, which can help you in finding a very good solution for emotional management. For example, like you can see, the principle of non-violence will protect us from negative emotions and develop positive feelings of love and kindness. ऐसे ही नियमा और यामा के जितने भी वो हैं प्रिंसिपल्स, उनको अगर आप फॉलो करो तो इमोशनली आपका एटीट्यूड वैसे ही चेंज हो जाता है, राइट? देन आता है योगा एंड इंटेलेक्चुअल डायमेंशन ऑफ पर्सनालिटी. सो नाउ इंटेलेक्चुअल डायमेंशंस ऑफ पर्सनालिटीज आर व्हाट, कि बच्चों में फोकस नहीं है, कंसंट्रेशन नहीं आ रहा है, आई एम नॉट एबल टू बिकम माइंडफुलनेस, डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स आर कमिंग, मेमोरी में रिटेंशन पावर नहीं है, तो बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स ऐसे वाली आती है, that people start becoming very forgetful somehow. So all these things are related to our intellectual dimension, right, which is cognitive skills as well. So you have to understand what are the things which can be related to this, and what kind of asanas can help you focus, helps you in concentration, focus, or other intellectual development, right? You have to find out a very good solution. So everything should be very clearly mapped in front of you, maybe in an Excel sheet format or any other tool that you want to use, create a very beautiful Excel sheet with color combinations and everything, where you can mention at least these 6 aspects. Because all the problems that people generally face will come around these particular dimensions and areas only, right? So then find out that if people are coming with physical, so physical में क्या क्या आपके पास आता जा रहा है या क्या क्या चीजें majority पे चल रही है, research से पता चल जाता है. So then what kind of asanas I can introduce, what are the pranayamas I can introduce, and what kind of meditation I'm going to give them, apart from obviously your other problem solving techniques. देन आता है आपका योगा एंड सोशल डायमेंशन ऑफ पर्सनालिटी. सो सोशल डायमेंशंस क्या होते हैं, अभी जिसके बारे में हमने बात करी थी, रिलेशनशिप्स, राइट? मेजर प्रॉब्लम, हमारा को सब कुछ मिल गया लाइफ में बट हमारे रिलेशनशिप्स अच्छे नहीं है, राइट? एंड इफ योर रिलेशनशिप्स आर नॉट गुड विद पीपल, दैट मीन्स देयर इज समथिंग व्हिच इज अ प्रॉब्लमेटिक, राइट? एंड मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम व्हाट इज प्रॉब्लमेटिक इज बिकॉज पीपल हैव वेरी लिमिटिंग बिलीव्स. उनके साथ इतने प्रेजुडिसेस होते हैं, इतने सेल्फ डाउट्स होते हैं कि वो किसी पे ट्रस्ट नहीं कर पाते हैं. And that trust, not being able to have faith or trust on somebody, always creates a problem. तो उनको हर एक negative चीज दिखाई देती है. That's why when we do guided meditations on these particular areas where we have to remove all these prejudices from our mind, it becomes really, really helpful. So apart from yoga, yoga will help clearing the physical body, but meditation will help them find out that different kind of personality exist, and we have to have a very good relationship with all different kind of people, right? Because imagine हम लोगों के मतलब whosoever has created us, 7.8 billion people in this world, not 7.8 billion people in this world, and we have everything common. So everybody has two, मतलब majority of people, 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth, 2 ears, all these things are common. Still, we look so different from each other, right? And how these looks are different from each other? So that means if looks are different from each other, so our mind, the way we work, the way we think, the thought process can also differ. हम जब physically एक दूसरे को accept कर लेते हैं, right? To our siblings, to parents, to children, friends, सब किसी को. So why can't we accept that by their social dimension, by their mindset, they are different from each other? Their thought process can differ. Once we come to this particular area, when we are started to accepting that their mindset and their way of thinking of some things can differ from others, if we start giving them an agreement on these particular things, then these problems of social dimensions of making a change in the relationships can work really, really beautifully. You have to accept the way people are, right? And this forgiveness meditations help a lot, because what people do is they tend to actually stay together with the people who have hurt them in the past. So they keep repeating whatever has hurt them in their mind, and they keep repeating it on a non-stop mode. And what happens is, because of those particular things, चाहे वो छोटी सी बात पे किसी ने दिल दुखाया हो, smallest thing, still it creates a large space in your mind. And that's when you're not able to forgive people. And when you don't forgive people, what happens is there is a strain which will happen in relationships, no matter, and it happens with husband wives majority of time. Because बच्चे भी चले जाते हैं घर छोड़ के, parents भी नहीं रहते, everybody goes ahead, but two people who got married to each other, or in whatever way they are staying together, they have to spend a lot of time with each other. So if we don't forgive each other often, every day in fact, then we will be able to keep holding all those problems in our mind, right? And that's when the relationships go strained. So if it's the very smallest of the things कि किसी ने कुछ कह दिया, आपको बात बुरी लगी, so you can always forgive that person and move on, right? So that's how it has to work. So what kind of principles will work here? Again, the Yama principles, right? With key elements is very important here for betterment of relationship with friends, parents, teachers, and others, and forgiving meditations, forgiveness meditations, right? So tomorrow we will do a lot of meditations again related to the topic, which will be helpful. So today, like we are studying about what kind of yoga asanas and pranayams are there, I will give you a complete list of what kind of asanas can work for problems like these. And then tomorrow we will do meditation techniques and that. Then yoga and spiritual dimension of personality. You want to take 5 minutes break? Because I think it's the time, right? And then we can join back after 5 minutes. Yeah?
Okay.
Let's take a quick break and come. Right, Muskan? trees. Yeah, all right. Okay. So where were we? We were on yoga and spiritual dimensions, right? So spiritual dimensions are now what kind of dimensions? Many things comes under spiritual. Some people actually can even relate that हमारा जो emotional disturbance होता है, emotional problems, are also somehow related spiritually with us, right? Or in some so many ways we are not able to find out the kind of peace and satisfaction that we are finding with our life, right? So various kind of things, various kind of perspectives can actually happen, and people come to coaches at very last stages, when they have applied and they have attended almost everything they had practiced, they have gone to doctors, various kind of psychologists, and at the end they come to the life coaches, because still life coaching in India is a very very different kind of perspective altogether. People do not really believe in ki what kind of people are those who are doing that, and it's not really a fault of the people also to think about it, because it doesn't really need a certification. Many people have become life coach without any degrees, diplomas, certifications. A very unstructured, unorganized kind of industry right now. Slowly, it is becoming much more structured. People are actually following groups. They are becoming a part of societies, and that's how they are regulating the things. Because it's very important that certain things are being regulated from a society or from a community head point of view, because it then brings uniformity in the way people are actually giving these skills to people, right? Because otherwise what will happen, uh, even three or four coaches are not really performing their job really well. They are just there for earning money, because your popularity or charisma can actually help you earn a lot of money. But if you're not really finding out or helping people find out the solutions for which they have come to you, somehow it becomes very difficult to gauge those things. So if the uniformity comes, at least there are few principles, there are few styles, there are few coaching techniques that people can actually use and inculcate in their entire structure, and then can design. So that ways you can actually become much more knowledgeable. See, now, like we are studying these things here in these classrooms, what happens with people who have never studied anything? If Google se search karke, they have done the self study and they have become coaches. So Google will not have all the answers for problems. It might tell you something different. But when there is somebody who has mentored us and tried to help us in becoming a better coach, then obviously it is always good. Like for yoga asanas, it is also being said that you should not perform yoga without having learned it from somebody. Right? Till the time you have not performed at least the advanced yoga asanas. Right? Basic to sab practice karke kar sakte hain, but difficult ones where you need a lot of guidance, when to breathe out, when to inhale, when to exhale, what kind of techniques you can use so that the strain is not on your hands or your legs or your face, or the different kind of things, right? So that is the reason why people also say that you should perform yoga asanas also in guidance of some proper yogi, right, or yoginis. So spiritual dimensions can, how you can actually help here, apart from yama, niyama, pratyahara or pranayama, sort of meditation relaxation techniques can be included, so that people can have that kind of realization. It's more about self actualization or self realization stage, that you have to find out what exactly are your needs, what is your purpose of life, what are you going to do. So all these things are getting much more streamlined with the help of these. Then are there principles of yama and niyama? I'm sure you're aware about these things, but still let's just take a look at that. So five principles of yama are, so yoga says that, yoga Veda says that yama are ahimsa, which is non-violence. So if you are a yogi, it's not just you are able to perform all the yoga asanas or you're able to perform meditation techniques that is being taught. It's very important that you follow this principle of ahimsa also in your life. It's like including these five principles, like we have in Reiki also, there are five principles of Reiki that has to be followed. So you cannot get become a Reiki channel until unless you have started following those principles in your life, and people actually be able to see that whether you are performing that or not. Right? So ahimsa is one. Then satya. Satya is truthfulness. That it's like a pledge that you are taking with you, that whatever you will speak because one, our energy centers which is here are really telling us to always speak the truth. right? But somehow when we are in different kind of circumstances or environment, we are not even speaking the truth, right? We don't believe in some MLAs or some people who are being voted, but we don't really become vocal about it. And those things create problems. So Satya, that is the reason why yogis generally used to, in earlier times, they used to take life away from मतलब ये वाली लाइफ नहीं जीते थे. They used to become sage purely because of this belief that their truthfulness is not going to work in the society that they are living in. So that's how we have to perform. It cannot be reached 100% looking into the society we live in the family we live, but the more we practice it, the more it will be helpful. Third आता है अस्त्या, which is non-stealing. So again, you cannot steal something from somebody, and stealing does not mean just stealing physically. Some people are in habit of stealing contents from each other also. Not just content, unka idea chura liya, unki cheezeं chura ली. So this is very, very peculiar problem in society, and it actually brings a lot of disturbance in people's life. Imagine somebody who has created an idea for after 4 or 5 years of their practice and their things, and suddenly somebody else takes your idea. So that impact which is going to cause, obviously it will bring anger, it will bring frustration, different kind of anxiety. So this is how, we have to follow this principle that non-stealing should always be our principle that we have to follow. Then brahmacharya is abstinence. Abstinence cannot be followed by every yogi. It's not really a proper thing. But abstinence in brahmacharya means that abstinence from prejudices and bias. Basically, it talks about, from Veda's point of view, it talks about cleanliness of the mind more than the body. Right? If you see from spiritual point of view or meditation point of view, spirituality says that two bodies meeting each other is a very spiritual experience that happens. It's not really something about. And why this says that? Because our birth has taken place from that particular moment when two bodies have met each other properly in the real manner, right? So that abstinence that yoga talks about, or some principles talks about, is in terms of not getting involved with the opposite sex, not getting involved into sexual pleasures. So it really is not the case. Meditation and spiritual side of it actually talks about involving into the entire process much more beautifully with mindfulness. The more you will do that, perform intercourse with mindfulness, the higher the chances that you reach orgasm also, and higher the chances that the child who takes birth from that particular kriya is going to be a wonderful child. Right? That's how some children are much more smarter, much more aware, much more beautiful, purely because of the way the kriya has been performed. Like we call it kriya. So imagine that tantra ways of meditation is also there, where you can perform these things. There are different kind of ways where you can perform sexual orientation also. Then fifth aata hai non-collectiveness. So non-collectiveness means that you should not really follow uh, the path where you are collecting all the negative emotions or negative experiences in your mind. Right? Our subconscious mind works really, really in a much better way. And what happens is, whatever problems we encounter, whatever challenges we encounter, it gets stored in our subconscious mind. And you will not realize till the time you are into similar problem, or you see people facing the similar problems. Then suddenly those thoughts will come across in our mind. Smallest example is कि किसी के बारे में हमने कुछ गलत सुना होगा कभी, maybe in our childhood or something, but once you grow up, you suddenly meet that person, the first memory that will be there would be that negative memory. So the more negative memories, negative thoughts, experience you keep storing in your mind, it will be harmful for you. So that is the reason why these 5 principles of Yama says that non-collectiveness should be followed to proper. Then आते हैं 5 principles of Niyama. So now Niyama के 5 principles क्या है? So जैसे नियम कहते हैं कि these are the foundations of yoga or any such practice that we are going to follow in our life. So number 1 is shocha, that cleanliness has to happen. That is the reason why yoga is performed in the morning hours also, because it helps cleaning the entire system as well. So we can actually perform all the bathing and creating our waste management also in a proper manner if we are performing yoga asanas properly. So that is the reason why. So it is इसीलिए शायद everybody says in our family that morning में अपना एक time बांध लो when you have to clear your stomach. Children को भी हम सिखाना इसीलिए शुरू करते हैं. That basic principle has come from Niyama. Then Santosha, so find satisfaction. Right. It's not really that you have to compromise on the situation to find satisfaction. It's the other way around. You have to fine tune the environment in a manner that it gives you satisfaction, 100% satisfaction. Right. If you are facing some challenges where people or people come to you and they say that domestic violence के लिए कोई आ जाता है आपके पास, so now the person says that I am facing this particular challenge. So how are you going to help me? What is the solution I can find? So what are you going to give him or her a suggestion? Domestic violence के लिए. Right? You know that somebody is performing something bad with you. Still you're not able to come out of it. So first principle is that safeguard yourself physically. Right? So physically कैसे safeguard आप कर सकोगे? Either you tell that person that you're not comfortable with the abuse that you are being granted for, you are taking, right? Second, you can say that, I don't want to live with that person. And, most of the women, most of the men who are facing domestic violence, it's not just for women, for men also it happens. So whosoever is facing this, they don't find that courage to come out of the relationship. They are so induced to the entire pain. They feel so happy, not happy, but their mind is actually so indulged into the entire practice that they don't come out of it. So that first step of courage is very important. So your satisfaction through niyama can only come when you are not in that kind of a relationship. So sometimes you have to break the relationships to find that satisfaction and contentment that you're looking at, and not just compromising around the situation. Otherwise, when कोई भी आपको सन्यासी या योगिनी या योगी बताएंगे तो वो बताते हैं satisfaction is कि जैसे आपके circumstances है उसमें आप satisfaction पाना सीख लो. But that's not really the case. Circumstances can be very, very painful. So you cannot find satisfaction in those. So you have to first physically guard yourself, then emotionally, then mentally, and then it comes to satisfaction. Then tapas, austerity. So yoga is basically a very important thing that we perform in our life, and yoga and meditation help us perform relaxation techniques in our body, and it helps in that tapasya also. So when you are actually, people say कि मेरे को pain हो रहा है, I'm feeling discomfort. So that discomfort is basically the tapasya that you are performing on your body. And that is the reason why staying quiet, fasting, all these things are really good for our mind, body, and health, overall health also. So austerity has to be performed really, really well. Sometimes you have to get away from all the things to feel that austerity. Then swadhyaya, so study of good literature and knowing about the self. So it's very important that we spend a lot of time on self-development and getting different kind of perspectives for how we are living our lives in a right manner or not. So reading good books, that is the reason why people used to say earlier that reading is really, really a good habit that you can inculcate. You can actually get involved into a different kind of world altogether without even going there, right? Through reading. So these are the two things that can actually perform. So whether it is audio reading or reading a book, it can really, really make a lot of changes in you. And then Ishwar Pranidhana, which is dedication to the God. So chanting mantras, chanting, performing the rituals, all these things can actually perform the dedication to the God and supreme power. I personally believe that more than the rituals that has been created for religious purposes, it's more of meditation that you can perform so that you can have a direct connection with the supreme and God. Mantras really help. Diya Jalana really helps. Diya Jalana, yeah, incense, whatever you want to do. This is really, really good because it cleans the place where you are performing the meditation. So sit cross and perform meditation. There are wonderful, beautiful meditation techniques available on YouTube. You can find out and which can help you find that connection with the Almighty. And it generally happens. Guided meditations के through first 2-3 times करते हैं, fourth time में then it will become our habit. Then you can actually do that. Now, few of the asanas which can really help in all these areas of personality development or personal development and growth of people are Surya Namaskar, sabse pehle. So it really helps you perform various kind of things. It's like a varjish for the body, which helps your mind and body get balanced. balanced properly. Then Tadasana. Tadasana का भी यही pro है कि आप really it helps actually children in growth. जो लोग पेरेंट्स कहते हैं कि हमारे बच्चे की हाइट नहीं बढ़ रही है या प्रॉब्लम है, so Tadasana is a very very good asana which can help you in those particular things. Then Simhasana, Mandukasana, Uttana Mandukasana. Uttana Mandukasana is stretched Mandukasana pose, right, with your hands at the back and you're stretching it. Then Kukutasana, Matsyasana, Bhujangasana, Makarasana, Shablasana, and बहुत सारे हैं. And I didn't want to go into the details of everybody. Maybe at one stage we can perform all these asanas together and then we can do that. Right, so these are the few asanas which you can list down, and all they are multi-purpose. So when you read about the benefits that these asanas can have on the mind, body, and emotional aspects of a human being, then you can easily inculcate or include all these things in your coaching models. Right, so the presentations, like we were talking about 3 diseases and the styles and models, then we can include more asanas and meditation techniques, right? Because when a person comes to you for 45-minute session or 30-minute session, whatever we are planning to give them, so they are looking at कि हमें क्या-क्या चीजें उस 30 minutes में करा देंगे. So performing 1 or 2 asanas, giving them a very good highlight about it later on after 3-4 stages, and then giving them few beautiful relaxation and meditation techniques can actually bring. So after few talking, making them understand, listening to them, then you can include all these things. So instilling the benefits of these asanas is really, really a wonderful thing that can happen in life. इसके बाद है meditation techniques. 3 meditation techniques are there again. So breathing techniques, not the way we generally do. We will perform another meditation technique on breathing. Whiteboarding is another beautiful one, and visualization is another beautiful one. Again, for whiteboarding, people say that you need to be certified because Tibet में or China में or Thailand में, this is also called Mao skill, Mao meditation. Yeah, Mao meditation, and this is performed by very people who know this technique really, really well. So whiteboarding generally should not be performed without guidance initially. So we will do a guided meditation. I'll guide you how to do that. And then you can perform this, practice it on your own. Right? But before you perform it on other people, you need to be really, really have a complete hold on this entire presentation. Visualization is comparatively easy, but few people cannot actually imagine the way visualization works. So it takes time. Comes with a lot of practice. So you have to spend a lot of time doing that. So these 3 meditation techniques we will do. So if everybody joins tomorrow, then presentations and meditation techniques we will do in tomorrow's class. Right? Any questions on today's session? Anything that you want to understand or talk about? Let me show you the slide so that if something is not understood, we can talk about that. The major portion of personal development, basically, these are the areas that you'll have to work on. Right? Helping them find out what is the way they can actually reach self-knowledge. They can include more responsibility, because maximum people are not able to perform their jobs properly, and not jobs means not just career wise, but घर पे भी आप देखेंगे कि बच्चों का concentration नहीं होता है, किसी का नहीं होता है, कुछ आधा काम करके बीच में काम छोड़ के दूसरे काम पे चले जाएंगे. So all these things actually comes up because that self responsibility का sense missing होता है. Then self-esteem and self-efficacy is more about self-realization, how you can actually get hold of your self-esteem. Majority of the relationships we are in, it is very, very difficult without having a good self-esteem to be in those relationships. Right? So all our difficult relationships are there because we do not have, or we do not really follow our self-esteem. That is the reason why. So like we talked about, domestic violence तो चलो बहुत extreme case हो जाता है, but in normal circumstances also people are not really able to find out what is good for me and what is not good for me. Right? That is very major.
आजकल मैम ego problem is very मतलब बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ चुकी है. Like we see in the children's also, they are so, they have become so egoistic, we cannot say a single word to them. I mean, we have to be very exemplary every time to make them understand, and we have to use some story kind of things to make them understand.
Absolutely. See, ego ka problem in majority of the families of children comes because we showcase them all those things unknowingly.
Uh,
You know,
mm,
as a parent, as a grandparent, you know, the people who are always around them. Right?
yes.
Maybe it can be school teachers, it can be us as parents, it can be anybody. When I first found out something like this in my son, I actually took hold of my husband and me. We had a long discussion that what
Mm,
is it that we are doing wrong. Right? It was
mm,
very initial stages of him becoming stubborn.
mm,
And then we found out that yes, we have to start getting much more forgiveness. You know, we have to include all these principles in our life every
mm,
time. People say now that parents are the first role model, so we have to actually do the walking the talk wala thing. So
yes.
ego thing will move.
Mm,
Plus, last 2 years have taken a huge toll on
yes, yes,
children. Right?
yes, ma'am.
Suddenly, their lifestyle has changed so much. We,
Mm,
as an adult, are facing problems, not
mm,
being able to go out, anger issues, frustrations. हम में बढ़ गए. So imagine a child whose life was actually with friends and teachers,
yes.
and this is what we inculcated in them, and suddenly everything got disturbed,
Mm,
right? And हम लोग बोलते जा रहे थे उनको कि फोन में टाइम मत दो, गैजेट्स में मत टाइम दो, and suddenly
mm,
we started telling them कि go attend the
go.
classes on
Mm,
mobiles. So that conflict happened purely because
yes.
the way we were giving them the guidance. So it will come.
Mm,
See, children are too pure to have those ego issues.
yes.
It just comes that we show them that path. So we have to make some changes in us. Children will come around.
Mm. Like my son, I have to, मैं उसको कुछ भी समझाऊंगी, विद इन हाफ एन आवर वो ज्ञान मेरे पास आना है.
I
Like
know that happens.
man, they are so quick to because they are, nowadays the kids are, the mental status of all the kids are same. They cannot, they are so intelligent, they are high tech, they knows everything. So we have to be very choosy also ki what we have to, I mean, what exposure we need to give, and
Correct.
what content they are being exposed to, and everything. Uh,
Absolutely.
we have to be more, I mean, uh, because gadgets are there in their hands. Like my son used to sit here and do the classes, online classes. मम्मा मैम जो पढ़ा रही है वो मुझे आता है, थोड़ी देर बाद देखा तो वो पीपीटी चल रहा है. मम्मा मैंने पीपीटी बनाना सीखा है, आई एम प्रिपेयरिंग पीपीटी. एंड फॉर पीपीटी व्हाट ही हैज टू डू, he'll go to the Google, he'll download some images and then put it in that ppt.
That, yeah.
So this thing and they don't know ki on Google what he has to, because he is right now he is only 7 years, so he don't know how to type also. So he used to use the process of using that mic.
Speaking
He
and
is
then
speaking
getting,
and then
yeah.
so, and Google search many things. आप एक word डालो and it will give
I know.
so many things. So we have to be, then we told him ki don't do this. We will give you images, then you create your own
Your own
PPTs and all.
PPT, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good way. See, children can understand if we make them understand. So, like you said, that storytelling, yeah, giving example is very, very important. So
And
we used to
nowadays,
share
ma'am,
stories. Yeah.
we don't have exposure. Like if you see in the television, there are so many stories like Hindi, in Hindi, like Chota Bheem is coming, and in English Peppa Pig. But there is nothing in these cartoons ki
कुछ भी
like they
नहीं.
are kuch bhi nahi hai, no moral stories. If so, what I started ki now in Facebook, I don't use more much Facebook, but some Brahma Kumaris, they give very good stories of
Correct.
spiritual stories. I mean, so those stories, they have some kind of message.
Absolutely.
I mean, we can tell our kids ki haan, these are
Yeah.
stories.
So there are many cartoon stories also based on Vedas. So you can make them listen to those channels.
Yes.
I'll try and
Okay.
find out. I think I used it long time back, 3 years back.
Okay. Okay,
I'll
ma'am.
share
Please
it
share.
with you. It's a very
Sure, ma'am.
beautiful way. it has all the stories related to Gita, whatever, and in a very, very natural, very storytelling, children-oriented cartoon manner.
Okay.
So it was good ones.
Okay.
Hanuman ki stories and बहुत सारी beautiful stories. So my
Okay.
son got really engaged into these things. So now
Yeah.
Hanuman is his best friend. He talks to
Okay.
him like Hanumanu is my favorite. And this is how you can inculcate. It's not that हमने अपने आप से सीख लिया. I also
No.
asked different kind of parents and how they are
Hmm.
doing it. So parenting is a very different kind of
Very
a
different.
job. Yeah. So it can come to different people at different stages.
Hmm. And being working also, it's quite difficult to pay
Very
more
difficult.
attention. Very difficult.
Yeah. But
We
I
cannot
always feel that people who had working mothers are much,
Yes.
much more better.
Yes, ma'am. I feel so.
Discipline,
Yes.
punctuality, discipline, lot of things they listen to.
They understand. They become self-dependent also. Many
Yeah.
times we see, and this thing when we can compare when 2 or 3 kids of our own family in which the their mother is homemaker and our son when I'm working, so we can compare the habits also, the way they are talking, the way they are doing, and
That's
the kind of somewhat maturity level is also there in them.
very, very important. Yeah. So like I
When
told
when
you,
when
yeah.
we were in school, so there was a teacher who had the student in the same school only. So we used to ask that child that how you wake up yourself. Your mom comes to school early, so you wake up yourself, because we had the habit, our mothers used to wake us up.
Yeah.
So we were like, you wake on your own. So yes, discipline comes.
It comes on its own. Yeah. It's a wonderful way of
And I
actually.
even taught Divya ma'am's son for like 2-3 classes. And I must say he's very disciplined. He's a very sweet child.
Very
And
good. Yeah.
in this class also, he always used to come in between the class and see where is Muskan, ma'am? Is she there?
Wonderful. Yeah, that's why he was coming just now, no? Also.
Yes, ma'am. He just came. He's clicked on the list of participants, and he didn't find the name Muskan. He went, and Muskan, ma'am, is not there.
Wonderful. And children can actually take up these things. So when I was teaching in HRM classes, so हमारे में एक होता है HRM में sourcing का tool, that's Boolean search we use. I was just teaching it to the class. It was again same 2 hours class for Boolean search. And next day, because I am into hiring also, my company is into that. So my son actually used that particular tool to hire an HR manager. And he actually searched people from Google and LinkedIn. And he told me, I have created a folder on your laptop. Just go through it if you like them or not. It was a wonderful research. So imagine you don't know how they are, what they are listening to, and what they are actually taking it in their lifetime. That is the reason why what we speak at home is really very important, that we need to put a lot of thought into it, especially in front of our children. Whatever will come to your mind, or whatever will come to your mind, don't speak that.
Like
Filter
I
laga ke.
and my husband both are in the same department, working in the same department, and our HOD is an IAS officer. So my husband looks after the work of legislative assembly, Vidhan Sabha and all. And my work is something different. So he at the age of 6, he knows all the vocabulary that is related
Used
to the
by.
used by
Correct.
us.
Correct.
So what is going on? Like Vidhan Sabha, Papa, does Vidhan puja hoti hai kya wahan par? It's Vidhan Sabha because we used to call Vidhan in terms of puja. So that kind of things goes on.
Imagine such beautiful minds they have, and they are ready to learn all the time. And the more you will give, see, the parents actually wonder कि हमें बच्चों को ज़्यादा नहीं information देना चाहिए, but they are really able to grasp so many things at earlier stages. जितने हम बड़े हो जाते हैं, उल्टा it's get difficult for us to engage into. Right? So it's very important that we keep engaging our mind into various things, and that's when it can actually help. A lot of memory retention tools आते हैं, बहुत सारी exercises आती हैं which you can do for children. So suppose children comes to you for this personal development, and the parents will bring their children for these kind of things. So you can actually include a lot of cartoons created, story making. There are flashcards with stories and vocabulary which you can introduce. So different kind of solutions are there. Right? Again, it's just that you have to research about the right kind of techniques that you're using, tools that you're using. Right? Again, same, any children, none of the children are same. So every time you
Yes.
have to get involved, you have to speak to
Different
them.
strategy.
Yeah, yeah. Different kind of. Yesterday I was in my physiotherapy session for like, there was a
Mhm.
child which was, I don't know, उसकी आवाज ही आ रही थी हमारे कमरे तक. So he was, I think, 5 or 6. So he was actually negotiating with the doctor that I don't want to do this exercise. And doctor was also negotiating. He was very sweet guy. He's
Mm.
young doctor. So they were both negotiating. उसकी आवाजें आ रही थी कि नहीं, I don't want to do 10. I will just do 7. So doctor ने कहा अच्छा चल 6 कर लेते हैं and then we will do it in this way. So his way of negotiation was wonderful. So after the session, I told doctor, मैंने कहा आज आपकी और उसकी negotiation skills देखने को मिली अच्छे वाली. No? It's very, very, what do you call it? In terms of able to speak his mind so thoroughly and so properly कि उसकी mom को बोलने का मौका नहीं मिल रहा था. He was talking continuously.
Yes. No, actually, YSI, I have been associated with YSI since the first COVID period. When
Oh, wonderful.
when it started, we were in Bhopal, everything was locked down, and I was searching for my son some English coaching classes in summers. So I somehow came to Neeraj sir called me up. Let's take her some demo. We tried it, and since then I have been continuing my son for this English classes, and
Okay.
I am able to see a level of confidence, uh, everything. I mean, so much difference I have seen in him. Like I can compare the difference with his peers in the class, colleagues.
For sure.
Yes. So it's very markable
See
changes I
the
have seen.
group, yeah, the children who are in those groups where sir takes those classes, really create an impact. Right?
Yes.
People feel very good about it. So they don't look up to the teacher only, they look up to the entire
Mm.
set of people who are there in the classroom. So it's really bring that kind of a different, like, for us also, it is like this, that I learn certain things from you, or you learn different kind of things from each
Yes.
other also. So different kind of learnings can happen in a group
Mm.
session. So that's the reason it's really wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Right, so this is the end of the classes today. I think that's enough. So tomorrow we will do meditation and relaxation techniques in terms of
Sure.
what will happen for personal development and coach. I will try and bring in 1 or 2 case studies
Yes, ma'am.
from the people that we have handled, and then we can talk about those case studies also.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
So that's all for today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.